Thanksgiving is fast approaching, which means lots of family time. So we've put together a list of our favorite family-friendly movies.
Oh, yes, please.
These are movies that you can watch with your family and also like. Dan, what's your first?
My first one is a movie that I actually do watch with my family every year. Now, we watch it on Christmas Eve, but we were at the beginning of the holiday season, and these all are traditions for me, all of my picks. So it is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. We alternate with Elf as the movie that we watch every Christmas Eve. I love this. There's some language, so maybe the very younger kids shouldn't watch this with the entire family, but it's my favorite of the National Lampoon movies. It's my favorite of the vacation movies. It might be my favorite Chevy Chase performance. It's just hilarious. There's some things in this movie that still make me laugh. There's a moment where Randy Quaid just walks up to this kind of spinning thing that Clark Griswold has and just touches it, and it just explodes and breaks, and he just walks away from it. And it's just like the idea of someone who's that clueless and just doesn't care. I love that movie. I don't care how many times I've seen it. It makes me laugh every time.
I'm going to pick Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. There aren't a lot of good Thanksgiving movies. Mm-hmm. There's barely any of them.
There's that.
There's pretty much that.
Yeah.
I was thinking like Apocalypto. Like
Sure.
what's even appropriate
There's
to watch?
one called Home for the Holidays that Jodie Foster directed that I think is a Thanksgiving movie, but it's not as good as that one.
So this is a film that is John Candy, Steve Martin, and it's really the spirit of what the holidays are about, which is being stuck with somebody you don't want to be stuck with. And what better thing is there to describe family? So they're stuck together and then learning to love each other despite that, despite their close proximity. So I think it's like the perfect theme for family coming together under one roof and having to live together, because obviously they're opposites. They learn some things from each other, and they learn to love at the end.
Yeah.
It does have one scene with the F word.
I want a car right now.
It's worth it. I think it's earned. I think you can have the kids do earmuffs because it's only one scene, but otherwise it's all family friendly.
That is a great Thanksgiving movie. I think we can all endorse that one. I maintain that the wisdom of the entire universe is contained inside the physical cartoon embodiment of Charlie Brown. Mm-hmm. And I refuse to hear otherwise. So I encourage us all to tap into that wisdom and watch a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. The characters are kind of great because they are really flawed, right? If you think about the things that they represent, they're actually kind of adult. Like Linus has probably a disease that needs some attention, you know?
Well, it's like Seven. Like he's sloth, and Lucy is vanity.
Yes.
And like each of them corresponds to a different mortal sin, I'm sure.
Oh, easily, yeah. So I think we've talked our way around from making this a really great family. But the point with these is that you can take these things away, and then little kids can kind of just be introduced to Charlie Brown and enjoy it on that level. So that's a good one for me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What do you got next?
My second one is, it's another Christmas movie. However, this was for me, and I think for many people of my generation, a Thanksgiving tradition, and that is Home Alone. Holds up, number one. Back in the days when they used to shoot and cast comedies like they were every other kind of movie, which they don't necessarily do anymore. They're just like, whatever, it's a comedy. It's John Hughes, again, wrote it. Chris Columbus directed it. And John Candy's in this. But Joe Pesci's great in it. Daniel Stern is the robbers. Macaulay Culkin, obviously.
Pete Culkin.
But the reason that I specifically target this for Thanksgiving is that every year from the 90s onward, and I'm not sure if they're still doing it, NBC would play Home Alone on Thanksgiving night. And so I have many memories growing up from 10 years old on, just about, of every Thanksgiving night, Home Alone would be on NBC.
I love that movie. It's got a mixed message about approaching creepy old men with shovels. Because, like, at the end of the day, it's saying you should because they're friendly and they're going to rescue you from danger. But at the same time, do you want to be telling your children to approach the scary old man with the shovel?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Kevin did the right thing in running for most of the movie, and the friendly old man saved him through no fault of Kevin's.
Yeah.
So Kevin did not invite the scary old man to save him.
I just want to prepare to sit my child down and explain to them, you're about to see a film where an old, creepy old man with a shovel saves the day. But if you see one in real life, do what he does and run.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that the important thing to take away from that is that this would spark conversation with your children.
It's important to just have the conversation.
Yeah.
This is also, I know that I saw a thing on Twitter a few days ago that was something about quick name a modern movie or an old movie and how long would it take for it to be obsolete if cell phones existed? Home Alone is a movie that
very
would
quick.
not happen today, could never happen today, would never happen today because it is very reliant on analog technology.
Definitely.
That fails, and you have none of anything else. It's landlines and
The lines are down.
The lines are down. Oops.
I guess you could have a tower down. That's a whole different movie.
It'd be chaos.
That would
It
be
would
like
just be
Ship to the
utter
Purge
chaos,
hit
yeah.
by a meteor instead of a snowstorm.
Home Alone would be the world is the home, and we're all alone. Which is not
Which is
my
a
next movie. It's not
different kind of movie, but yeah.
By
What's
Lars
your
von
next
Trier.
movie?
Mine is a goofy movie, and a goofy movie is great because it's good for parents and children. Parents can appreciate Goofy's attempts to like communicate and connect with their son or daughter and just kind of relate to their child, and the children can relate to just being so embarrassed by every single thing that their parents do, whether it is embarrassing or they're just being nice. And I think that as I grow up, my allegiances shift. I used to be a Max, now I'm a Goofy. And I think it's short, it's sweet, and it's got Powerline in it. I mean, come on. It's also some of the best music.
Well, sold. I'm
Yeah.
sold. I'm going
There
to
you
watch
go.
it. If I don't watch my next two picks, which I did too, because let's face it, Thanksgiving is just an excuse to eat a ton of food at this point. That is what the holiday is for. And that is why I love it, because I love to eat food. But the best thing about it is that you just snack throughout the day. You're kind of like, do you do this thing where you don't really eat a lot because you don't want to get too full before you gorge?
You might
When
have
the
a
meal-
light lunch maybe,
You have
or
a light
snacking,
lunch.
yeah.
Maybe a soup.
Yeah.
You might do a soup, right?
Piece of toast.
Yeah. So a light snack before you really feast. So I like to prepare myself to really enjoy my food by thinking about food and watching food. And this is something I do on the daily. However, in this particular circumstance, you can do this as a family by watching Ratatouille, which is a charming,
yes.
delightful family film that celebrates the love of food and food itself. You might have a bit of Ratatouille as your light meal while you're watching Ratatouille. You could also watch Big Night. This one I don't think is so much for the young kids.
Are you doing a 2-for-1 here?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I did it.
All right.
I
Yeah.
slid that right in. Because this one is less like, if you've got little kids, they just won't have fun
They
with
won't
it, probably.
get the greatness of that scene where he yells at the customer for having a pasta and a risotto.
Exactly.
You cannot do that. No.
How can she want? They both are starch. Maybe I should make a mashed potato for on the other side.
But kids love the tooch.
Kids love the
That's
tooth.
love
a
Stanley
known
Tucci.
fact. That is a known fact. You're accurate there. So maybe, I don't know, it depends on your kids. You know your children, but one of the two will work to work up your appetite and have a bit of entertainment as you prepare for dinner.
See, my family just eats the neon paste from Hook. We all have empty bowls, and then we just stare at them long enough until it turns into colored gack.
Bangarang to you as well. My last one is, again, this is tied to memories for me. And another thing that I did when I was younger was my uncle and I would go on a Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving, we'd go on a movie marathon. He'd take me to 3 movies, and we would see whatever was out in the theaters. Maybe if I'd seen it already, we'd go again. And then the last one would be the one that the entire family would go to. So I remember in 1995, I believe that I have this correctly, it was a triple feature of GoldenEye, Pierce Brosnan's first James Bond movie, Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls,
Well, you had
the
me
sequel
till-
to Ace
yeah.
Ventura. I believe that was in 1995. But the last one was Toy Story. We all went to. I remember we all went to see Toy Story together as a family, and the first full-length computer animated motion picture, but also still just what a great movie. That movie holds up. I know some of the animation looks a little rudimentary by
Only the
today's
humans.
standards. The humans
We
particularly.
don't care about them.
But I still love that movie. I mean, Tom Hanks and Tim Allen are just such a great duo in those roles. And then, Don Rickles and the late, great Jim Varney, Wallace Shawn and Annie Potts. And that whole supporting voice cast is so good. And it's just such a fun movie. And it's something that I think it has kind of transcended being a modern classic. I think that Toy Story is gonna be one of those animated films that's just a kids and a family classic for decades to come because it's just a great story.
Do you think, would you put Toy Story in one of the greatest trilogies of all time?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Because Toy Story 3, arguably the best, maybe, but
Well,
it
that's the
doesn't
thing.
exist
So many movie
without-
trilogies have a weak link.
Yeah.
From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, obviously, to Godfather, but Toy Story, I mean,
Everyone.
1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
great.
But they're
Knocked it
about
out
to
of the
ruin
park.
it, and it's not going to be a trilogy anymore. So we can't talk about it being the best trilogy of all time because there's going to be
Quadrilogy.
a 4. Maybe if 4 is this great, then it'll be the
Yeah.
best quadrilogy of all time. That's a really rarefied
That's super
air.
rare. It would be the one, I think.
Yeah, but that first Toy Story I still love, and many fond memories associated with it. So.
Yep.
The one that I would recommend last is one that came out in 2014. And I remember the ad campaign for this. It was Paddington. And I was convinced this looks terrible. Like, this is like Uncanny
Never saw
Valley.
it.
Bad, bad, bad. And I went to see it because I think I was reviewing it. It is extraordinary. This movie is a delight to watch. It is charming. It is emotional. It's sweet. It's about a family and their bear. But it really is. It's like it's about finding your place in the world. Like, I cannot recommend enough that you check out Paddington. They're working on a Paddington 2, which I hope lives up to the first one. But it really is one of those movies that was such a beautiful surprise. And this is a perfect film for families and for people, I think, that maybe missed it, to discover, again, adults and kids alike with their families during this lovely holiday season.
Nice.
I've been paid to say all of that.
Really?
No, it's
Wow.
great. Paddington's
okay.
so good. No, it's really great.
Yeah, I hear good things, but I got to get some of that under the table money for recommending films.
Yeah.
You know what film doesn't need any money is Titanic, which is my last recommendation.
I wanted to end there.
I love my family. I love my in-laws. I like spending time with them. You may not. If you need to just eat up some time on the holidays, throw in the longest but also generally crowd-pleasing movie possible, which is Titanic. It's 3.5 hours, right? Maybe longer. It's
At least 2 or 3 days.
it's like a visual spectacle. Everybody's seen it. Everybody enjoys it to varying degrees. But you know, from grandpa to grandkids, will get something out of Titanic. And you're burning like a quarter of the day that you would have to otherwise spend talking to each other by watching this really long historical movie.
You know what I love about all of our picks is
Yes.
what it says about who each of us are as a person. Mine, extraordinarily sentimental, perhaps to a fault, tied to family memories. Roth's, yours, very critically acclaimed and analytical, and very much
Charlie
tied
Brown?
into what's great for the season, what is appropriate for the holiday and has a good message. And Spencer's is about avoiding or learning to cope with family.
I want to give you
whenever and
guys
wherever
picks you can
possible.
use, okay? I want you guys to do to put these to use in your own families, dysfunctional families.
But I love my family, Spencer.
I love them too.
We
I'm
have
just-
a great time together. We spend days at the movies together.
You love your family. Maybe they stay for too long, you know, and it's like day 7, and you're like, okay, what do we do today? Like, come on.
Well, that's
Watch
a little.
Titanic.
Day
Yeah.
7 is a little extreme. I will agree with that.
throw on Titanic.
They're on Titanic.
There you go.
Did you guys watch Titanic in the theater?
Sure.
Yeah, a couple times.
I
Actually.
did on a holiday.
A great 2-hour romance and an amazing 1-hour disaster movie at the end of it. I think that's how it made so much money. It was like
Yeah.
it literally had something for everybody.
And that is why you can distract your family with it and not have to speak with them for the holiday season, which is what the holidays are really all about. Thank you for joining us today. We hope that you are enjoying your family, or maybe you're avoiding them by watching this right now. Well done, you. Thank you for that. We appreciate the support. And we hope you have a wonderful holiday season. And we will see you here on Monday. Yeah?
See you then.
Click here for more awesome Screen Junkies news and click the logo to subscribe.